Hello there. Welcome back to a now playing video. You could already tell by the video title, but it's for a movie that's so beloved to me. It's one of the first movies that I remember truly just loving and enjoying and wanting to rewatch over and over as a kid. I want to say I was around 8 years old when I first saw it. There's 4 movies in this franchise. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 10. Let's go to the shelf. I wonder what it could be. Boom! Indiana Jones, The Complete Adventures, but this now playing is for the first film, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Came out in 1981. It's an all-time Steven Spielberg classic, the pinnacle of adventure films. If you're new here, I essentially put in the Blu-ray off the shelf, turn off the lights. It's very much immersive, so you guys are like, you're here watching the movie with me. Give you my thoughts throughout. Without further ado, let's get right into this thing. Peep the poster. So I wanted to point out how gorgeous this is before I actually put the disc in. You've got this booklet here, The Complete Adventures. That's the movie we're gonna be watching, but you've got Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then a bonus features there. But it's just a gorgeous, in-depth booklet. These are my favorite kinds of Blu-ray sets. They did the same thing with the Star Wars box set, the one that I have. So the disc is in. I'm about to fire this thing up. I will say I wish that I picked up the 4K set. Oh, look at the blue. I love it. The blue lights to match it. But I wish I had that 4K set. It looks gorgeous, I've heard. And I really like the artwork for it, but I'll settle for the Blu-rays for now. Again, it's gonna be dimmer quality for the video, but I'll be showing you guys clips from the movie as I watch it, and then I'll give you guys my immediate thoughts to it, and I'll give my overall recap at the end. It's just, loss of words just sitting here on the disc menu. That score right there by John Williams just gives me all kinds of emotions. I'm gonna have a lot to say about this movie. This is gonna be a very personal video. I love Indiana Jones, so let's just hit play. Let's just do it. All right, I just changed to red lighting right before the movie starts because I noticed I recorded the intro and the screen was kind of hard to pick up with the blue light, so we're gonna go with red from here on out. How is it possible for a movie to hook you in the first 10 seconds when all you've seen is the title? Doc Ock confirmed! Indiana Jones is showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now that's how you introduce a character. Harrison Ford is the king of cool, no one else. I think this movie kind of created the word iconic in a sense, just because now that I'm thinking about it, every time when I was a kid after I watched this movie, I would always do that with like objects. It could be like my lunchbox and literally anything. I would try and switch it out. Super cool, like Indiana Jones. And honestly, I rewatched Onward recently and I was noticing how many similarities there are to Onward to this movie, like when they're running and they're stepping on things and arrows are shooting at them, or even the gelatinous cube from Onward is very reminiscent of the boulder that we're about to see in a second. It's so immersive into this world, and just the physical props that they built for, and the sets that they built for this movie are immaculate, and it truly immerses you into this adventure. Also, the trope of him grabbing the whip underneath the door has been referenced in countless movies, including Onward. And realistically, there's no way he would have made it through that door in time, but hey, I don't care. I suspend disbelief in movies like this. Start the engines!
There's a big snake in the plane, Doc! Oh, that's just my pet snake, Reggie! I hate snakes, Doc! I hate them!
If I was Indy in that situation, I might have just jumped out of the plane for all I know, but I will say that's some of the best foreshadowing we've ever seen. It sets up in one simple little gag. There's a snake, Indy says, "I hate snakes, Doc! I hate them!" Setting up, obviously, the scene later where there is a shit ton of snakes in the Well of Souls.
The grave goods that were found in another, in the area gets,
You and me both. The scene of Indy explaining the Ark of the Covenant and everything is also just very well done exposition because it's enthralling because the two guys who are explaining the situation with the Nazis are unaware of the subject, so it's like they're learning this information and we're essentially in their seats as Indy is teaching us. Now we're about to go on an adventure and see some of the best transitions in movie history. Every time I wear a hat on a car ad, I always do that thing and feel like I'm Indiana Jones, just being all cool. Especially when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna take a nap. Let me put my hat over my eyes. Transition game on point. That always makes me laugh for some reason. Now that I'm older, it makes even more sense. But me and my friends always say we're gonna do something like that, which is just so stupid.
Indiana Jones.
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
I see you, Home Alone. I see you stealing from Indiana Jones. Goated transitions.
What's his name? We call him Belush.
Belloc. Belloc.
That's one of the funniest lines in this movie. I always say that randomly. I'll just be like, Belloc. Belloc. This sequence always reminds me of the Indiana Jones stunt spectacular in Hollywood studios. They reenact some of these stunts from the Indiana Jones movies, notably this, and then later on the fight by the airplane as well. But it's just so well done, that show. I love watching that show and just seeing how accurate they do it. Easily one of the most iconic scenes from this movie. Everyone always talks about it, and as a kid, you know, it was that one that always stuck out and made me laugh. The fun fact about this is the whole cast and crew, they had like bad food poisoning during the scene. Spielberg's the only one who didn't have food poisoning because he packed his own food, I believe. That was the story I read. So originally there was supposed to be like this big action sequence here. I think Indy was supposed to like whip the sword and everything. Harrison Ford said, "Why don't we just shoot the sucker?" That was like his quote. And they were like, all right, fine. So that's why he ends up just shooting him in that scene as opposed to them having some extravagant fist fight or Indy whipping out the sword. They were all just feeling very ill. There's a fun fact about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Back to the movie. Rip Marion? We'll have to find out.
Bad dates.
Bad dates. Add another tally to the iconic lines that I always say for random reasons from this movie. Every time I eat an olive, I think of that for some weird reason. John Williams is a undisputed GOAT. Everything that he touches turns to gold. The sweat on Indy's face even makes the scene intense. She's alive! Gorgeous. That gust of air that lets out right when they lift the stone always reminds me of, or at least in my mind, I would believe it to smell like a ride at Disney World. If that makes any sense at all, let me know in the comments down below. Like possibly Pirates of the Caribbean, maybe Splash Mountain. There's just a distinct smell when you get in line in a building at Disney. I do not know how to describe it with words, but if you know, you know.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Most iconic line from this movie, one of the most iconic movie quotes ever. I forget what version of the movie it is. You can faintly see the glass that the snake is enclosed behind. As someone who hates snakes with a burning passion, it's always disgusting to watch this scene, this whole entire sequence, because I feel like uptight and honestly my toes and fists are clenched because I hate snakes. They disgust me. Props to them for acting during that because that's definitely just a piece of styrofoam. If they ever remake this movie, which I really pray they don't, I think that actor would be the guy that plays the Mountain from Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, there's a massive character called the Mountain who is literally like 7 feet tall and like massive. They do a great job of recreating that fight scene at the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. Yes, I'm plugging it, but if you're ever in Disney's Hollywood Studios, you gotta check out that show. I think it's worth noting that we go from the plane fight scene where Indy's fighting the big dude right into this truck chase scene that lasts like 15 minutes, 2 back-to-back enthralling action scenes. I'm not one to over-critique movies when it comes to believability, but he would definitely be bleeding all over and torn to shreds. But again, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing it out. The John Williams score is immaculate. I've said that word like 30 times in this video. There's only 24 minutes left in this movie, and it feels like it's been maybe 30 minutes. This is one of the most well-paced movies ever. There's never really a slow moment. It just moves at a non-stop pace. You sly dog. Even on water, that transition game is on point.
Don't look at it. Shut your eyes, Mary, and don't look at it no matter what happens.
Whew, so that was pretty intense. Fun fact, the first time I ever watched this movie, I actually closed my eyes in that scene. I got scared by like a lot of things. If you've heard my story about the Great Movie Ride, I got scared of that ride, so I watched it with my parents, and they were like, you might want to cover your eyes here, so I did, just because I didn't want to get traumatized. And when I eventually did watch it, it wasn't even that bad. but I just wasn't risking it. But still, that's pretty intense to this day for, I know it's a PG movie. Of course, Temple of Doom and Red Dawn are two films that, and Gremlins that actually led to the PG-13 rating. So this would still be PG-13 today, but like, imagine with the effects, like it's pretty graphic there at the end, and the practicality of the one shot of the face melting, brutal, and the head exploding as well. It's just really graphic. So as like a 7-year-old, when I first saw this movie, it could have freaked me out a lot. What a great like climax that is. All those Nazis getting what they deserve. You don't mess with the Ark of the Covenant. So I just finished Raiders of the Lost Ark, all-time classic, one of my favorite movies of all time, with ease. It's seriously just so good. I'm gonna sit right here at the poster in the background. Also, I'm gonna turn the volume down so the score isn't blaring. Boom, right there, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Lightning in a bottle. One of the best paced movies ever. Steven Spielberg's masterpiece, in my opinion. Yes, he has Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, Jaws, E.T., but I think this is my favorite movie from him. It's the pinnacle of adventure and action. Harrison Ford plays Indiana Jones to perfection, and he is easily one of the most just memorable, lovable lead protagonists in any film. His relationship with Marion Ravenwood is sweet to see develop throughout the film, but it's all about the action and adventure vibes in this movie, and each set piece has so much to bring to it, from the costume designers of Indy's costume to the production design, all of it. I have to credit everyone behind the scenes for this movie for making it what it is today. It stands the test of time. I really want to get the 4K set because I bet they look gorgeous on 4K, but I plan to watch Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade, and Crystal Skull in the next few days and have a ranking of all 4 movies out for you guys, so be on the lookout for that. It should have won Best Picture. It lost to Chariots of Fire, a movie I haven't seen, but how does this movie lose Best Picture? It's literally perfect in every single way. This is a perfect movie. I love it to death. I love this franchise. I can't wait to rank them. I've been wanting to talk about Indiana Jones on the channel for a really long time. That's going to do it for this Now Playing. Thank you all for watching. Definitely hit the like button. Comment your thoughts on Raiders of the Lost Ark down below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's overrated? Do you think it's properly rated? Do you think it should have won Best Picture? I want to have a conversation down there about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Definitely hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my Indiana Jones ranking. Lots of other videos and more of these movie night vlog Now Playings. I have an absolute blast doing them. If you have any suggestions, let me know down below. I run polls as well so you guys can vote for what movie I should do next. But thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more indie content soon. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.